Okay, welcome back. This is just a tour of Canvas. I'm just going to go right on down the list. So announcements. I have a couple announcements in there, but they're kind of queued up. By the way, this is the teacher's view, so I can see an awful lot more than you can. The first one is, you kind of if you have an Apple Mac, here's basically step-by-step what you need to do. There's some information here, and then where to go to get the ARM-based version, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And hopefully it'll be helpful. So assignments. So everything is already preloaded in your Canvas course. Again, I can see a lot more. I'm asking for a readiness survey but I need to know where you are. Being able to teach the course effectively, I need to know what you don't know. Okay. And what kind of machine you have at the house, things of that nature. And then there's this intro and syllabus quiz. This is all about, did you watch the videos, which you're watching right now? Plus, do you have a copy of the book? That's basically what that's about. The actual syllabus itself is out there on Simple Syllabus. It's not, basically we covered all this, okay? We've covered everything in here I could think of. All the information on everything, okay? All right, so the journals. Let me just bring up one, all right? So here's one that basically says, give me a screenshot of the specification of the computer you're going to use, right? And then a screenshot of which version of Visual Studio you have installed. By the way, there's a lot of things that start with the word visual, okay? Visual Studio Code, that is not what we're using here. We're using, honest to God, full Visual Studio, okay? Then lecture trivia. What phrase was used to describe programming? What are the three names, the naming conventions, because the book only has two? What non-technical analogy was used to describe the difference between a class and an instance? Again, you can't Google that. And then where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And then some questions. Did you have trouble finding the machine? And if you're a Mac OS user, did you have trouble doing the install thing? There's 3 discussion forums in here. One is introduction. So, you can say, hey, my name is Bob. I got 6 iguanas and 4 cats, and I'm graduating in the fall, that kind of stuff. Course feedback is like, so you can cry, bitch, and moan, or, hey, you want to get together for a study group or whatever, just whatever. Grading notes is a closed forum. That's the one where I say, okay, we just finished quiz number 2. The average score was an 85, and, go through all the kind of details. I'm going to skip these sections here because they're relevant only to teachers. And I'm going to the syllabus view. So here's the link to the simple syllabus. And here's the thing you really need to be keeping track of is the due date. So everything is due at 11:59 on Sunday, all the way down, except for the very last one, which is due on Friday because the semester ends on Friday. So basically, it's a quiz or an assignment, quiz or assignment, quiz or assignment, quiz or assignment, right on down the line. I'm going to go to modules next because that's where the grit of this thing is. There's a start here section, a welcome, et cetera, et cetera. Supplemental materials. I release these things periodically. For example, some of these things I've released and some of them I have not. And then the weekly task and video lectures. Every week you come here, figure out what week it is, click on that week and do what it says to do. Okay, it's not at all complicated. I mean, you click on one of these guys and it's going to tell you, okay, I want you to, read chapter in the book, watch the week 1, watch installing Visio, watch the chapter 1, about an hour of videos. And then introduce yourself into this introductions, take the syllabus quiz, take the readiness survey, and turn in journal 1. It just right on down the list, all the things you need to know how to do. Okay, let me get back to that. All right. So in here's the lecture notes. So after the lecture is over, you'll go here. This will have all of the things that we talked about in the lecture. By the way, sometimes it's a little easier to pull these things down in Microsoft. Pull them down as a file and bring it up in just plain old Notepad so you could do a search. I mean, if I'm asking for naming conventions, it would be kind of cool if you could just do a Control F and go we pop right on down to it. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Anyway, this is just kind of it's like a highlight, an outline for you to follow. I don't actually read the words, but I talk about them. I make sure that everything is cool. Okay, let me get back to here in the modules, and we're going to go through this kind of nice and slow. All right, I'm going to start with this section here, and we're going to do welcome. So, welcome to the course. Da, da, da. Just a reminder that you really ought to be watching this this video, which you're obviously doing right this very now. So, lecture heavy. Quizzes assignments are based upon what's said and done in lecture, not necessarily what's in the book. Online course. This is the most important part. This course is the same in every way practical to face-to-face. And just like a face-to-face class, I'm expecting you to show up on time. I'm expecting you to pay attention, not fall asleep in the middle of lecture. I want you to pay attention and take notes. Well, it's the exact same thing here. You're going to have to watch the videos. You're going to have to pay attention. You have to take notes. Absolutely identical. You're going to need a Windows-based machine. Yeah. And hopefully, by the way, none of the alternatives we talked about cost money. You can use free virtualization software on your Mac. I've got a Mac Mini, and I install VirtualBox and Windows 11, and it runs great. And I can put whatever I want in there, and it works just fine. Course navigation, things to do first: get a copy of the required textbook. Watch the videos that you're watching right this very second. And then apply for an Azure, apply for an Azure for Student accounts, because if you need virtualization, you're going to need an activation key and I don't want to have you spend money. So if you're one of those folks that have a Mac and you have to install a new copy of Windows 11, you're going to need a Windows 11 activation key from Azure for Students. Okay, I'm going to move on. So the next one is a little bit about me, office hours. Quite frankly, it's not decided on whether or not I'm going to have any office hours at the university. So I'm thinking virtual. The textbook, a copy of the course syllabus. This is a PDF version of the syllabus I mentioned, in case you're just into, hard copy things. That'd be great. Copy of the slides we just went through. Well, course objectives, apply syntax, arrays, function controls, evaluate debugging, understanding algorithm, and ethical principles in programming. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So here's the class schedule. This is the official schedule. So if something happens, this is where the changes will typically be. So the way it works is Monday morning, everything starts, and then everything ends on Sunday. And then, class activity and what's due. Syllabus, readiness, journal. And then next time it's assignment, then quiz, assignment, quiz, assignment, quiz, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, cool. Assignments are typically 2 weeks out. The term project is 4 weeks out. Exams and quizzes are the week that they're due. They're released on Monday, they're due on Sunday. And then if you're new to Canvas, you might think, well, I've been using Canvas for 3 years now. But have you resubmitted a document? Have you submitted multiple documents in a single assignment? Yeah. I've had students who say, wait a minute, you want me just to email you the updated version of the assignment? I go, no, I want you to resubmit the assignment in the assignment feature of Canvas. They go, well, I've never done that before. I'm thinking, well, now's the time to learn. Okay. Required skills. Okay. I'm expecting you to know the difference between if I say, File Explorer or browser, I want you to know the difference. Using the File Explorer, can you navigate, create folders, rename things, copy files? Can you create a zip file? Can you go to a project folder and right-click and create a zip file from that? Can you extract files from a zip file using the Explorer? Those are the things you need to know how to do. And then a bunch of stuff in here for plagiarism. I got some kind of cool cheat sheets in here if you're interested in pulling those things down. I'll add some more stuff to this a little later on. I kind of like this cheat sheet. The Azure for Students, if you need it. I've got some applications out there that I'm probably, won't release immediately, just to show off some of the things that I've been doing. So one more time, every week you go to whatever week it says, and do what it says to do. That's basically it. Okay, that is the end of our cool little tour. And hopefully it's covered everything you need to do to be able to do the the syllabus exam. And I'll see you guys again in the next video.